How to create sustainable success. When you think of sustainable success, we need to think about both physical health and business so that you can thrive and are not having to follow shiny objects or yo-yo your health or reinvent the wheel in your business. And today we have two experts here who are going to reveal some awesome tips on how to create that sustainable success. So let's go say hi to them. Hi, Leisa.
Hi, Lisa Reid here from Orange County, California. I'm the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, and you can find me on getspeakinggigsnow.com.
Great to have you here. And
Thank you.
hi, Donya.
Hello, greetings from San Francisco. I'm Donya Fahmy, and I'm a sustainable wellness success mentor and a natural health and lifestyle expert. And you can find me at donyafahmy.com. That's DONYAFAHMY.com.
Well, I'm so happy to have both of you here. I'm already feeling better, about the possibility of sustainable success because people want to divert our attention so much and follow shiny objects. But I know you have tried and true practices and advice. So, Lisa, I thought I'd start out with you. If you could share some advice or tips on how to create sustainable success in business.
Well, one of the things that I think is really critical to a lot of entrepreneurs, especially women speakers, is having a consistent lead flow, having consistent appointments on your calendar so you can have consistent clients, right? Because that's that sustainability. How do we actually say we don't want to have those roller coasters, those deep swings up and deep swings down? We want to have some kind of consistency in our income. So I think of that when I think of sustainability. For me, I've been a speaker for 10 years. I always average 50 plus speaking engagements a year, which allows me to have consistent bookings, number one, but two, consistent new people that are always coming into my life that I'm always getting exposed to. And so then that's what I also teach my clients to do. It's like, how do you actually just get out there? So you're always on a podcast, you're always on a show, you're always getting out there, being that expert in front of everyone. And then all of a sudden, it's easy to get bookings because people ask you. More speaking begets more speaking, more clients begets more clients. So to me, that's one of the easiest ways to have sustainability is to have a fulfilling, I call it soul fulfilling way to market yourself versus the soul sucking way, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to be doing things that we hate doing, but we do need to do marketing and sales. That's part of the business. So how do you find something that actually like, ooh, this feels really good to me? And for us at WSA, speaking is definitely one of those ways that we feel really excited about sharing our expertise and getting clients.
Let me ask you one thing that might be on some people who are listening's mind that are new to speaking. They don't
Mhm.
have the speaking that begets speaking. What's a tip you could give them to start that ball rolling, getting speaking engagements?
Such a great question. Well, for me, I'm a huge fan of getting ready to be ready to say yes, right? It's like if you were going to leave your house, you would be wearing clothes. So if you are going to be a speaker, you need to have a talk like in the can done. Like if they said to you tomorrow, hey, could you speak at our such and such event? You want to be in a situation where you can say, absolutely. When I work with people on their talk, I call it get your talk ready to rock. And we start with that call to action at the first. That's what we start with first. We start with the end first. And then we work our way down to the title because that's going to put it all together. But the cool thing is that if you're not in love with your talk, we need to have a conversation. When you're in love with your talk and your brilliance can come out, you're usually in a situation where you cannot wait to share it with the world. And that's where we want to be. We want to be at this like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to tell everybody about this amazing thing that I created. It's like your baby. You want to share it with everyone. And that enthusiasm is contagious and it's going to get you those doors open a lot faster than if you're like, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait
Absolutely.
versus, oh no, don't ask me. It's very different.
Absolutely. Yes. So when you're ready, you also, I think, as you go through that preparation process and you're really connected to your talk, then you're kind of a heat seeking missile for those kind of people who want that. So I love that tip and brilliant advice for sustainability is get a bunch of speaking engagements and don't stop until you do. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Lisa. All right. So Donya, you specialize in wellness, right?
Yep.
So and sustainable wellness success. So what advice do you have? So now we've got Lisa's tips and she's, got us on the path to speak, but we want to be healthy. So how can we manifest that?
Well, you nailed it earlier when you said that, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. How can you be successful in business, right? So how can we meet the day-to-day demands of our everyday life and still be successful in our business endeavors, our professional endeavors, even our personal endeavors, if we don't have the consistent energy and focus that comes with maintaining good health, right? So that's why it's so important in terms of your overall success. In order to have sustainable wellness, we have to get clear, very clear, that the world that we're living in right now is not the same world that most of us grew up in, right? It's calling us more and more. We can't afford to just kind of sit on our laurels and take things for granted anymore. It's calling us more and more to take a proactive approach to our health and to managing stress, especially, and toxicity in our bodies. And by the way, those are the two biggest contributing factors to poor health and chronic disease, right? So I'm a big fan of frameworks. I feel like when you have a framework, it makes it a lot easier for you to figure out how to do things, right? Because you were talking about not chasing after shiny objects. There's no shortage of health information out there on the internet, right? Like you could spend hours, even days, you could attend summits, you can gather all kinds of information, but how do you sort that information into a framework that you can actually act on, right? That is actionable. So what I like to tell people is that the framework that I like to share is that you can look at everything you do in your day-to-day life from the lens of, is this contributing to or helping to eliminate what I call your health snatchers? And health snatchers are three root core underlying causes of all illness, and that's chronic inflammation, it's hormonal imbalance, and immune system weakness, right? So everything you do, there are four areas in your life that you should always be mindful of and vigilant. And it starts with, what are you putting in your mouth? Right. And that's that's primarily the quality of your diet and your nutrition, but it also incorporates your oral health and anything that you consume, like whether it's supplements, herbal remedies, medication, or even recreational drugs, right? So that's number one. Number two is, what are you rubbing into your skin? Right. So your skin is your body's largest organ, and more than 60% of what you rub into it is absorbed into your bloodstream and can harm you depending on what the ingredients are and what you're rubbing in there. And then number three is, what are you being routinely exposed to in your environment? So that could be indoor air pollution. The thing that most people need to really be paying attention to now is what they call electrosmog. And that is your exposure to electromagnetic fields from your cell phone, from your smart devices, from your wireless internet, from all your appliances. And we're surrounded by it, right? All of us are surrounded. And so many of us have our phones in our faces day after day after day. So those are the areas. And then last but not least is what's going on up here. So who's in control of your mental, emotional, and spiritual worlds? So what I like to do is when I work with people, I like to take them through this process that, there's four areas, and I call it my whole life detox system. And the cool part about it, the cool part for me anyway, that makes me passionate about wanting to do this, is that as they go through the process, they start to come into alignment and they learn how to live in harmony with nature. And for me, from a bigger picture perspective, that's a huge win both for people and the planet.
Now, before someone gets to you, if they wanted to take a proactive step right now in creating the sustainable wellness and they're not really sure what is going on, what's one thing they can do to increase their health?
Well, I mean, there's a lot, right? So I'm going to give you a quick tip. So here's my cell phone. I keep my cell phone in a protective sleeve. It's called a safe sleeve. And it protects me from the radiation that comes from the phone. So if you're someone who uses a cell phone and use it a lot, you should look into getting something like this. This brand in particular is called Safe Sleeve, and I'm not promoting because I have no interest. There's no, I'm not like a spokesperson for the company, anything like that. The other thing to remember is most of the radiation comes from the back of your phone. So if you're carrying the phone, for example, in your pocket, or in your purse, and it's against your body, you always want to have the front part of your phone, whether it's protected or not, facing your body, because that minimizes the amount of radiation that you're being immediately exposed to. And at night, if you use your cell phone, or you should have your cell phone, you should keep it at least 3 feet away from your head, like at the bed. And ideally, you should put it in airplane mode, unless you're using some kind of sleep some sleep measurement app. So that's just a quick one of very many, many, many things we could be doing. So it's really all about, the focus should be on how to eliminate your exposure to toxins. And that's what I love to do, is I like to help women radically reduce their exposure in all those areas that I mentioned. Again, because it really, like, it's a process and you need the framework, but once you have the framework and you start staying within that framework and going through that process, eventually what you're doing is building up your immunity, which is really important. A lot of people don't really pay that much attention to that. And in the process of doing that, you're lowering your inflammation and you're bringing your hormones back in balance. And those are the things you need to have sustainable wellness success.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know we could ask both of you a lot of questions about what's the next steps, what the do's, what are the don'ts. So I'm going to encourage our viewers today to get in touch with Leisa and Donya, because they are experts in creating success, sustainable success. So, but let's get to know you a little bit more so people can learn who do you work with, what do you do with those people. So Leisa, why don't you share?
Sure. I actually started speaking about 10 years ago, and I started with 0 clients, 0 email list, 0 speaking engagements. And my first year as a speaker, I booked 83 speaking engagements. This is before I had my company Get Speaking Gigs Now. I had started a network for speakers, and people ask me all the time, how did you get booked? What are you doing? How did you do this? And that's actually how my company was born, because it wasn't, ironically, no one was saying, how do I be a better speaker, Leisa? Can you show me? They just wanted to get on the stage. And it was funny because that was a real big gap in the marketplace. There's a lot of us who want to be speakers, or who have the desire, who have the dream, who have the calling to do that. But the act of, there's the desire, and then there's the actual putting some strategies in place to get the microphone in hand, whether it's virtual or otherwise. And that's what I found, a gift that I had that I didn't realize that I had. So I help entrepreneurs who have that deep desire to speak, but learn how they can, for their business, get booked for the rest of their career, right? Because we don't want to have to rely on other people, but we also don't want to work really hard. Like, how can we do this really easily, but and make that impact? So that's what I work on with people. I have a client, for example, and I've known each other for a long time, and she's kind of circling, like, kind of, tell me a little bit about what you do. Tell me, and then finally one day she was like, okay, I need your help. And she had done speaker training before. She had been in, lots of programs, but something just was not clicking. Like, she just kept banging her head against the wall. I said, let me just get my hands on you, my dear. Let me just come here, please. And when she decided to work with me, we were able to really get to the depth of what it was that she wanted to say. And I think she was stuck in this, like, I have to do it a certain way, and they told me I have to do it this way, so I've got to do it perfect. I don't know if y'all can relate, but a lot of people have that issue. I call it a speaker's kryptonite. We all suffer from some version of speaker's kryptonite. And once she was able to really hold on to her own, like, this is what I stand for, this is who I am, and I'm okay, she, like, unleashed. And she came to me the other day with tears in her eyes. She said, Leisa, you changed my life. And I was like, oh, come on, no. And she goes, no, I'm serious. Like, I am speaking all the time. I'm getting clients. I'm booked I've got 6 more bookings this month, and I couldn't have done it without you. And so to me, that's like perfect. My job here is done. Now she can go fly away and do her thing and go help a bunch of people. That's what I'm all about.
Awesome. That's
Awesome.
great that you can help people to take them to the next level. Love it. Donya, share with us about who you work with and what you do with them, and maybe a story.
Sure. Okay, so I work with midlife women who want to enjoy vibrant health and continue to maintain their freedom and independence as they age. And what I do is I help them create and follow a roadmap to sustainable wellness success using the 4 areas that I mentioned earlier. So my whole life detox system, and that's based on my own personal firsthand experience and over 20 years of research in overcoming almost 2 decades of multiple chronic health problems that doctors and medication couldn't resolve. So that's my personal story. I struggled with persistent eczema. I had recurring allergies and upper respiratory issues. I had digestive issues. Hell, I was diagnosed with IBS back in 1990 before it was even a thing. I had chronic fatigue, brain fog, you name it. I had like just a bevy of things that just would keep coming and keep coming. And I finally got to the point where I'd hit the wall. I was so frustrated. I was like, this just isn't working for me. I'm not getting better and I'm not going to do this anymore. And I just made a decision, a fiat decision. I'm firing all my doctors and taking matters into my own hands. And that's kind of what I did. And it was a very liberating and empowering decision. Though, even though at the time I had no idea how I was going to handle all this stuff and take it on by myself. But an interesting thing happened, which is that as soon as I stopped relinquishing my personal power to authority figures and took full 100% responsibility for my own health, the answers and the solutions started dropping in. So that quickly catapulted me onto a path of natural healing and plant-based medicine, right? And from there, that led me to create my essential oil aromatherapy product line, Dropwise Essentials. And from there, my interest expanded outward into all aspects of healthy living. And that was how I was able to create sustainable wellness success for myself, which I had been craving and striving for a very long time. So I'm kind of living proof that anyone can really achieve sustainable wellness success on their own terms, as long as they have some good practice, as long as they have some good practical knowledge, right? And guidance and support so that they understand how to focus their time, energy, and resources in a way that generates the kind of things that they want to have, right? Because again, this whole shiny object thing, we can go off on a lot of different tangents when it comes to our health, and we tend to be more symptom focused. So if we've got symptoms or we've got a diagnosis, we're all in there and we're not looking at the bigger picture, which is what holistic health is really all about. And so that's kind of what inspired me to want to serve people with the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained, and hard earned, I might say, over a long stretch of time.
Well, thank you for all the great work you do with people for healing, because as we are our best selves physically, we can be serving other people.
Right.
And then Leisa, thank you for the work you do to help people get to more people to serve. So
Yeah.
you two are just shining examples of the resources we have here at Women Speakers Association. And I love our premier members and I love featuring you. And I thought I'd ask you, what do you love and value about Women Speakers Association? And just real brief, if you could share, Leisa, what that is.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a WSA member for many, many years. I actually had the chance to meet people in person back way before the pandemic. So for me, it's just a really welcoming environment of women, heart-centered, purpose-driven people who are out there making an impact in the world. And I like being around people like that. So that's one of the greatest benefits, I think, of the community.
Yes, we are a sisterhood. We have all kinds of resources, and it's so wonderful when we get together in person, and we do that every so often. So I look forward to seeing you in person at some point. And Donya, how about you? What is the value of Women Speakers Association to you?
Well, I haven't had a chance to do the in-person thing, so I'm looking forward to that, right? Especially that I am now wanting to do a lot more in-person speaking. I've been doing a lot of virtual speaking over the last several years. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on this show, for example, and to have the exposure and the connection. So Lisa, you and I need to talk. So yeah, I'm looking forward to forging new friendships and connections and getting more visibility and getting more speaking gigs.
Awesome. Yes, that's what we do here at Women Speakers Association. I want to invite those of you watching, if you want more information, go to joinwsa.com and check out what we have to offer our premier members. If you want to put your toe in the water, you just want to get on our mailing list, see what we have to offer. We do send out an email newsletter every Monday for both members and the people who are not members. And you can get on that by downloading our speaker success plan. And it's a roadmap to success. It kind of has a checklist in there, and we'll give you a lot of good ideas about what to do next if you want to speak more, get your message out there. And guess where that is? Speakersuccessplan.com. Speakersuccessplan.com. So thank you again, Leisa. Thank you, Don. Yeah, we are so enriched because of you for all that you do for other women out there. We'll see you next week for another episode of our Women Speakers Association's WSA TV Women Premiere Show. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer and advocate of women. Happy to be here. We'll see you then. Bye for now.